Manapság
The European Union, the very basic physical reality is we lack total consideration. In 2 days, my friends, on Friday, there is supposed to be a vote on the European Union's crazy idea, the so-called REPowerEU. The REPowerEU will ban oil and gas deliveries from the Russian Federation to the European Union. On one hand, this is illegal cheating. Illegal cheating, because it is essentially about sanctions. And within the European Union, decisions about sanctions must be made based on unanimity. I think this decision will have a very bad impact on global energy security, because at least for me, it is very difficult to imagine that at home I could argue in favor of substituting a cheap and reliable source of energy with a more expensive, less reliable one. I listen to the fanatic arguments of some Europeans, who say we are feeding the war machine of Russia, but what we Hungarians pay for Russian energy sources is the make up 0.2% of the Russian GDP, and I am sure that 0.2% of the Russian GDP will not win this war for Ukraine, which is, by the way, impossible to win on the battlefield. Well, regarding national gas, since Ukraine cut off the transit on its own territory, 18 billion cubic meters of incoming capacity has been lost. Well, if the TurkStream is also shut down due to this crazy measure, it would mean a further loss of 8.5 billion cubic meters of capacity, which in total already amounts to 26.5 billion cubic meters, which we can imagine what impact it would have on the country. By the way, there was an attempt to question the operation of the TurkStream, using a covert method, and the Dutch government refused to grant an exemption or permit to the operator of the TurkStream having its headquarters in the Netherlands for certain purchases. Therefore, the decision was made for the TurkStream operating company to relocate from the Netherlands to Hungary to operate safely. Moreover, the Americans were extremely correct, as OFAC provided an explanation that the financial transactions of the operating company are not subject to sanctions. So, good news, the Hungarian bank was able to complete the transactions, allowing the operating company to continue its functions and keep operating the TurkStream pipeline, which, if it hadn't happened, would have created a critical situation. And while the European approach endangers global security, this is also because this European policy lends credence to the physical attacks against the routes. The Ukrainians have been attacking the Druzhba pipeline, which wouldn't pose a problem for Russia, but for Hungary and Slovakia, it would. Yes, and European leaders praise the Ukrainians for this type of action, which is extremely dangerous because it can serve as a reference anywhere in the world for attacking physical infrastructure, can be considered a positive. Celebrating the explosion of the Nord Stream pipeline is one of the most serious lunacies that European politicians can engage in.